A background sheet is very useful whenever we're designing anything with levers. And your background sheet could simply be a sheet of paper where we have clearly marked some lines. Now this was a sheet of squared paper, but if you've got plain paper or lined paper, either one, you could just rule the lines 1 centimetre apart all the way down the sheet. And I've found the middle of this one because that's a good central starting point. But these lines are important because when we move our levers, they allow us to see how much the lever has moved just by counting how many lines. So each line, look, is 1 centimetre. So if that little lever moved up to there, where the central hole is, that's 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres to the next line. So it's a great way to measure how much a lever moves, and by measuring we can find out a lot more about how levers work and what we can do with them. Now that sheet there should really be held into place, so we'll get it nice and central, and then just use some bits of sticky tape and stick the corners down. Don't use too much tape. With just a little bit of tape, it's easier for you to take it off afterwards and replace it with another one. So there's our fabulous. Now we can bring back our pin and pop the pin in. We can use our little cocktail stick instead. It's a good idea to have a very central point to start all of your experiments with. Or we could use our fastener. Now remember, the fasteners are much wider and they'll end up making messy holes everywhere. So here's an alternative way to use the fastener. Why not take some blue tack and then attach it to the fastener, so flatten it out. Pop the fastener through the blue tack. And now the hard part, and try and get the fastener lined up with the centre. Just check from the side so I know I'm doing that correctly. Oh, there it goes. Moved it. So the drawback with using fasteners, they're very useful at times, is that the holes that you make in the little card strips have to be bigger. Now you could just pierce the hole through, start off with a pin if you've got one, or a cocktail stick, but then just make the holes a bit bigger with a pencil. So the danger is, of course, that you tear the card, but let's give it a try. Is that one done? Yes, it is. I think that needed to be bigger. Just turn it around a few times there, just to get the hole bigger. There we go. Now, to get the levers to move really freely, you could just get hold of one of these punches or an ordinary paper punch, and they let you punch the holes wherever you want to. So if we were to punch holes like that, the only problem is these are quite large holes and the levers can tend to float around a bit and move a bit too much left, right, up and down. Therefore the lever doesn't move as precisely as it would with a pin, but it still works, it still works. The lever sits on, moving down on one side, and we could measure by counting the lines how far it moves up on the other. We can change the positions of these holes and experiment with moving the lever. So there's a few possibilities there. I'm going to go back to the pins, and that pin might be in the very centre. There it goes. And then the lever. Well, this hole isn't any good to us now. Look, let's try a different hole through there. That's the central hole again there, and that's a really good sort of motion of the lever. If you do punch holes, you can look through the holes and see the lines. So if we just count this one, look, there's 1, 2, 3 down, and there's 1, 2, 3 up. So these holes can act as sort of sights to be able to see how far the lever's moved. Fabulous.